Elder Scrolls Online Update 46 is shaping up to be one of the biggest patches and updates in recent memory, with the brand new chapter, the long-awaited subclass system, and dangerous new trial, and a lot of quality of life updates, new gear, a lot of things to unpack. So regardless of what type of player you are, PvEer, PvPer, casual, hardcore, trials player, we have something for you in this update. I'm going to dive into the top 10 most important things you need to know for update 46. And let's start with number 1, the new chapter seasonal model, Season of the Worm Cult Part 1. So ZeniMax Online Studios will be changing their seasonal model in the future. However, 2025, which is year 11 of the game, will look very similar to years past, with 4 quarters of content, in June being the largest expansion. Season of the Worm Cult Part 1, which is the expansion, launches on June 2nd for PC Mac, June 18th for Xbox and PlayStation consoles. And this is a part of what's called the 2025 Content Pass. This seasonal content pass gives you the entire year of content with Q1 Fallen Banners, Season of the Worm Cult Part 1, Feast of Shadows, Withering Wall, and finally Season of the Worm Cult Part 2. So expect June Part 1 to be this multi-part story arc centered around the return of the Worm Cult from the original story. You'll have a new faction investigating dark rituals, growing corruption, and you can expect the same old immersive narrative with brand new characters and a lot of choices. Concluding the year will be Part 2, Q4, along with an in-game event, the massive Whirling Wall, where the entire server tackles one objective together. Think Dolmen's, but much bigger, grander scale. Moving on to number 2, and that's the new zone, Western Solstice. So this is your next playground. If we come to the map in Tamriel, we're going to go all the way down here to Solstice, and this is where you start the individual zone. It's a brand new zone, beautiful island plagued with necromantic magic. It's Argonian, so think tribal here, think marsh, southern coast of the Black Marsh. You're going to have the usual types of content within this individual area. You're going to have 5 full-length objectives to explore the island and uncover and unravel the story. When you first enter the main way shrine, you will be greeted by an NPC, and this is how you will start the individual quest to uncover just exactly what the Worm Cult is doing. You're going to have new public dungeons, 3 world bosses throughout this area, a new 12-player trial, new crafting sets and overland sets as well, which I'll cover in a second, and tons of additional quests, discoverables, and activities. So all this to say is that it's technically a brand new seasonal model, but a lot of times these are in development for years, so expect more of the same of what ZOS has produced in the past for at least this year, this content cycle. And if you want to get a hold of it, you need to buy the seasonal pass. Moving on to that trial I mentioned earlier, it's a new 12-player trial, the Ocean Cage. So the Ocean Cage is going to be in the same area on the map, Solstice, on the southern part. The trial is for 12 players design. You have a normal and a veteran mode, as you would expect. There are unique item sets in here. So you're going to have 2 light sets, 1 medium, 1 heavy. You're going to have the usual suspects, which include unique skins, mounts, titles, unique housing items, and so forth. This is really the bread and butter of endgame PvE in the Elder Scrolls Online. The individual story regarding this is a lot of destruction, chaotic dark magic, as you would expect. Apparently, Mana Marco had a bunch of vaults. This is one. So you're going to be exploring hidden artifacts and objectives within this individual cage trial. Okay, if we go to the individual item sets, like I said, there's going to be 4 in this individual trial. So we start with the heavy set. The 5-piece is while blocking, creating a distorted barrier around you, you gain armor, and enemies within the distorted barrier have their armor reduced. This sounds like a non-meta tank set, but another thing to collect. This one's a bit interesting. It's light, and while in combat, the 5-piece activates, grants you stack of harmonized for 10 seconds, up to 5 stacks. You gain 1 stack every 0.5 seconds, increasing your weapon and spell damage per stack. Thus, if you're constantly spamming synergies, this could be good, but for the average player, super not coordinated, probably not a good set to collect. Some set I can't pronounce, shocker, the 5-piece on dealing area direct damage, place a sword above the enemy once every 1 second. Okay, this is a long tooltip. Basically, it's another proc set that will do damage after 6 seconds. Who knows if this is any good because the tooltip is super long. This is the light, probably geared towards the healer set. While in combat, overhealing done converts stored energy on you for 20 seconds after overhealing a lot. Your energy maxes out, granting you convergence release, basically restoring resources. So if you're just constantly dumping heals, this is a way to give back resources in a massive AoE. Probably not a new meta healer set. So I don't know how useful these sets are going to be, but they will tune them so people most likely will want to collect them. Moving on to subclassing. I have a previous video on subclassing, and I was very skeptical of it at first, but I really enjoy it now. So all it is, it's base game, and you do a starting quest to unlock it. It allows you to swap in or out individual class skill lines that are not your own. So for me, I took like the Dragonite and used like the Templar Adric Spear because I wanted to do sweeps on a Dragonite. You have to drop one skill line to add another in there, but it was actually super fun. Now, the meta game players will find the mid-maxy ways to squeeze out every bit of DPS and healing, but a lot of these classes are really built already geared towards 3 specific skill lines, so you may not add a lot of power. What I foresee happening is 1 or 2 setups being superior and everyone playing that class and skill lines anyways, but you already have that happening anyways. So this will just add a lot of flexibility and hybridizations and seriously just play as you want to. The biggest thing you need to know about this is 1, it's base game, so you can access it. 2, you need to either have the class leveled up to 50 to be able to use this, and the other class leveled up as well. There are individual quest lines, so if you don't like playing alts, you can still unlock these skill lines. But if you're watching this video right now before it comes out, what I'd recommend doing is leveling a class that you want to get their individual skill line, specific like the Necromancer, the Arcanist, the Templar will be really good, the Sorcerer, some of those, just get them done if you want. And that way when it unlocks, you'll be able to hop on, get to your subclassing, unlock the skill. Once you unlock the individual skills, they're going to take 2 skill points rather than 1. So another tip for you is start stocking up on extra skill points if you want to use this. You will have to level up the individual skill lines, but it's account bound. What this means is when you, let's say, unlock Adric Spear on your Dragonite, you swap it in, you level it up to 15. You get on your Nightblade and you want that Adric Spear skill line. You unlock it, you throw it on. It will still be at 15, but you'll have to do it account wide for those individual classes. So expect a bit of a grind at the beginning to get them leveled up, to get them morphed, and to get them maxed out. So save your experience scrolls and potions that you thought you weren't ever going to use and start stockpiling those. Level up those alts, that will help you when this releases. Okay, number 5, there is a lot of combat and itemization changes. Really the biggest balancing issue that ZOS has was with the Nightblade, because sometimes it underperforms in PvE and overperforms in PvP, and they really can't find a way to dial that in. But I'd recommend some of the stronger classes with this subclassing will be Templar, Necromancer, Nightblade for sure, and then the Arcanist. So classes that have all of their damage kit in one skill line, like the Nightblade Assassination, really good. The Dragonite, however, has a bunch of things scattered out through all the 3 skill lines, so not nearly as good for that individual reason, because likely you just want one skill line that's really overpowered to swap into your class that you're not using for a DPS role, tank, or a healer. So expect a lot of adjustments as players find the new overpowered thing that just nukes everything, because it will happen when this launches. Next up is number 6, quality of life. They bring back a lot of quality of life to the game. So the biggest thing is this Hero's Return. It's a new feature to assist players in returning to quest or locations. It's a massive pop-up, basically incentivizing you if you come back to the game to go, hey dude, jump in, do this. It will kind of get you refreshed how to play Elder Scrolls Online. It's kind of an obnoxious in-your-face thing, but it might help a lot of players that get lost in the super complicated MMO when they come back. There's also going to be a lot of UI updates, a little bit more modernized, so the navigation and usability a bit easier. There's going to be stackable master writs, so that will save a lot of inventory space. A little bit later, we'll talk about console add-ons, so prepare for that. Now, there's going to be some other collectibles and items. Okay, first set up is the medium set. It's called Death Dancer. Adds critical when you have 50% more stamina. Reduces the cost of your core combat abilities by 21% when you have less than 50% stamina. So this is just a set that turns on recovery when you need it and turns on damage when you need it. Not bad for overland. The heavy set, the 5-piece, when you have a food buff active, your block mitigation is increased by 7% and block cost is reduced by 7%. Really good if you're going to use tri-stat food and you just come back to the game and need a basic beginner tank set. This is not a bad 5-piece. And then the light set, the 5-piece, gain 1 magic recovery for every 100 magic you have. Again, a beginner healer set that will stack a lot of max magic and gain recovery passive. Basically beginner gear, not bad. Here is the 3 craftable sets. Fellowship's Fortitude. This is a 5, 10, and a 12-piece. This is a really good tank setup for big armor, big HP, and you gain major protection, reducing your damage taken at all times. If you don't want fancy monsters and mythics and want something just to tank, great set. Shared Burden, 5-piece. When you enter combat, 6% of the damage you take is transferred to your companion. Instead, reduce the damage your companion takes by 16. When your companion dies in combat, they automatically revive themselves. I think you know who this is targeted at. People that love companions. Tideborn Windstalker increases your direct damage done to monsters by 12%. Direct damage is very important because that 5-piece can be really good if you're doing mainly direct damage. So somewhat class and or skill specific focused, but that it's craftable set, this could be awesome. We have these new mythics here, and this is a lot. While in combat, roll dodge creates a random effect. This can occur every 3 seconds. So I'm not going to read the effects here, but as you can understand, if you have a lot of stamina and love the roly-poly pew-pew bow build, this could be a lot of fun to use. It comes in light, which is a bit odd, and it comes in the feet. So a lot of ways to work around this. You could still run a monster and a mythic with this setup. We have this item here, Monomyth Reforge. While in combat, on your primary weapon, gain major force, minor berserk, and minor vulnerability. While in combat on your secondary weapon, gain minor protection, minor vitality, and minor timidity. Don't even know what that does. But what this is designed for is kind of a PvP build with a ring. So that way when you're on the offense, you get all the offensive buffs. When you're on your back bar, you get defensive buffs. Really good set. The thing I would look out for with this is if you already run one of these buffs or defensive buffs, this would be redundant. So you'd want to build class and playstyle that wouldn't necessarily have these buffs active within their kit or skills or passively, so you get the most bang for your buck. And then lastly, we have a medium shoulders, reduces the damage of your light attacks by 50. Dealing damage with light attacks restores magic or stamina, depending on the weapon type. Gain additional resources when damaging an off-balance enemy, and less resources when damaging a blocking enemy. Increase the damage of your heavy attacks by 50%. Heavy attacks no longer restore resources. So this is a way to do the popular 1-bar Oaken Soul heavy attack build. The issue that you would have with this, you would need to find a way to empower that empower buff. You could find the empower buff either through skills, another gear set, or something, especially with subclassing, using the Templar, which has it built in. Then this would be a really good set to run if you like the heavy attack builds. Next up is housing. There are a bunch of changes. I know people love housing, so real quick, there's going to have a furnishing vault, so a new storage solution for the people that play housing and love that. You have the retrieve to functionality, so it's easier to manage the placement of furnishings. Number 9 is going to be map and navigation updates. So again, the in-game updates are going to be a lot clearer, easier to navigate. And they're really targeting new or returning players that are struggling to go, where do I go, what do I do, and why? And then lastly, number 10, console add-on support is in development. So prepare to be introduced to console players getting the ability to make add-ons. This will be a massive thing that happens later on for Xbox and PlayStation players, because PC players have just so much more quality of life thanks to our hardworking add-on developers. This would be a huge boon to those console folks, and they wouldn't have to quit consoles and jump to PC to get some of the bells and whistles that we have. Well, guys, that wraps up the breakdown. 10 biggest changes coming to ESO pretty soon. Really excited about subclassing, super skeptical on it. I don't do all the questing, the housing, and so on, but I really love just the combat, the builds, the community, and I think subclassing is going to be a hit. And guess what? I was wrong on it. So if you got something out of it, hit that thumbs up. Thanks for watching.